farmer, and Anita will meet over after this. So Andrew's a 4th generation farmer here with a 5th helping. I realise how much has been done here in the last 5 or 6 years, so it's quite incredible.
Welcome everybody, welcome to Hillsborough Quality Nuts. My great-great-grandfather came here in about early 1860s. He came to Snake Gully, that's what Stanley was called back then. And I don't know whether he struck it rich when he was a gold miner. I don't know whether he struck it rich when he was mining or not, but he ended up buying a parcel of land out the back here. Now that parcel of land stayed in the family name all the way till about 1972, which my father built, which is here. So we started, we put the shed up as a processing shed for hazelnuts. We planted the hazelnuts 2013 over there. And they just said, well, maybe I might start selling some stuff, just stuff, small stuff from the farm grade shop. I said, okay, no worries at all. So she started selling stuff, and a few cars pulling in, and they started asking for coffee. And so I remember the first time she went up and got the old coffee machine from the house and took it over, just an old basic little red coffee machine. And it sort of transformed, and then we put verandas on and decks, and it's sort of continued on from there. So it's working out to be a quite a nice little sideline for the business. How many was it, Dad? Did you use the dig? Did you get double time and a half on Sunday there, Dad?
Never got that. Never got.
I think there's about 2,000 hazelnut trees and probably about 1,500 chestnut trees. These guys behind me are chestnuts. She goes up to the service desk and says, I need 180 litres of dishwashing liquid. The woman sort of looked around and said, you've got a lot of dishes to do, haven't you? You know. But anyway, so we came out, long story short, we came out and I mixed a bit up. We had the sweetest smelling paddock in the northeast Victoria. It was just beautiful. I came out the next morning and a lot of the aphids are on the front of the leaf instead of hiding behind them, and I gave the tree a shake and it just rained green. Probably another 10 days after that, the lady beetles are gone. There was nothing for them to eat. So just cleaned a lot up. You see where Dad's mowed along the sides of the trees, but he's left the centres. So we will leave that centre now until December and let the grass express itself to its full height. It will release pollen. The pollen attracts the hoverflies. The hoverflies feel really good and they want to have babies. They have the babies in the trees and the larvae eat the aphids. And we found that works absolutely fantastic, and we haven't had to even think about putting a soap spray on for the last 4 years. We do a fair bit of pruning here. As you can see, there's a few big cuts on some of these trees. A lot of these trees will be thinned out this year to try and let some light in, because once again, as I come back to before, we want to have that living root in the soil as long as we possibly can. Now last year after we chip everything, we don't mulch it when we can, we chip all the wood. So the only thing that leaves this farm is the produce. Everything else goes back into the soil. As I bought myself a microscope. Okay, now I haven't got a PhD in soil biology, and I'm not a soil biologist, but the things that even I can see as a layperson, it's pretty amazing. And once you start looking through these things and you see what's underneath your feet, you know, there's a lot more under there than there is up here.
Difference it would make if you could make a square.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
it's all the difference in the world.
So these are obviously our chickens. We don't ever get any foxes inside these electric fences. They'll keep them out, no worries at all. They're normally shifted depending on the green material. As you can see where you're standing here now, inside there was like that 5 days ago. We just sort of stagger them and shift them as we go. We did have them fenced in the trees. Okay, so they were on the irrigation line as well. But what we found was that every now and again, probably once or twice a year, they'll ring bark in the trees.
I experience all cribbing. That's what you call, horses that crib in a stall, cows that crib on a tree, sheep, chickens. All cribbing is a mineral deficiency, and minerals are not cheap, and so feed formulators tend to be a little bit reluctant to put in either enough or high quality. A lot of times when they say minerals, it's 90% chaff and wheat midlands and 10% mineral. So we've run our chickens under, now we don't have nut trees, but we have fruit trees, and we've never had a problem. But we put an organic mineral blend in the feed from Fur Trail, and we've just not had any trouble. Another thought that I had was, well, what if you added another pan behind the feeder, and you just took some raw wood chips, and just kept wood chips in that thing. I mean, if they're after bark and woody type stuff, the reason that the trees concentrate minerals and not grass is because the roots go so deep. So those deep roots are bringing up stuff into the bark that the grass can't access because the roots are so deep. So that's why the tree concentrates mineral, or has more mineral than the grass. So I'm wondering if just some wood chips, when you move the eggmobile, bring them up in the front end loader, you already got them, you just dump it in the pan in the back and see if that satiates the chicken's desire for picking up some minerals. They'll pick the bark off the wood chips, and they'll work it through. If you could actually double these up with I hook them together, articulate, then you could actually get double the number of birds. You could move them twice as fast with no extra effort. And then, of course, if you can actually make squares instead of these long things, the amount of square meters in a long skinny thing, you could set up half the amount of fence and have the same amount of area if you can go toward a square.
We do employ local people. We would love to employ a lot more younger people. I'm pretty sure that if you lived in the town here, you'd like your son or your daughter to be able to ride to work rather than take them over to Lavington and work at McDonald's perhaps.